Hey, what's up, guys? So, something that happened, it came up today at work. I have a coworker that is, for lack of a better term, she is very free with love. I'm not gonna call her a hoe because men been doing this shit for years and they don't get labeled. So, I say she's free with love. Okay, fine. She also happens to have a daughter, so she's a single parent. Again, fine. Do what you want to do. However, one thing I do not agree with is the fact that her daughter meets these men pretty much almost as soon as she starts talking to them. There's no relationship established, there's no courting period. It's like she meets somebody and boom, they're in her house around her kid. And I use the term kid lightly because this girl is a teenager. Even still, which is why it bothers me more, because at the same time, I understand that you want to do what you want to do. But what you have to understand is that your daughter is watching this and you're supposed to be setting an example for her. You shouldn't allow your daughter to see these men come in and out of your bedroom. She's not a tiny child, she knows what's going on. And then the bad part is this lady jumps in these relationships so fast, she doesn't have time to get to even know the damn person she's dating. And then they turn out to be completely fucked up. Completely fucked up. And now she's crying and wondering why it never works out and all this other stuff, when anybody but us could have seen the damn signs a mile away in the dark with sunglasses on. But because she's so free with love, she looks past all that. And she's only thinking about what it is that she wants. Those needs, the instant gratification. She's not thinking about the long term and the effect that it's having on her daughter. I know recently she said that her daughter wasn't eating. What? But yet, again, she has a new boyfriend. You chasing behind a man instead of figuring out what the hell is wrong with your kid. Where they do that at? So my thought is, you need to worry about the emotional well-being of your child over some dick. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I've heard a saying that never let kids get in between your relationship because eventually your kids will grow up and move away. But I think that's bullshit. Straight up bullshit. I would never, ever put a man above my child. I cannot do it. I won't allow it. Number one, because relationships come and go, but that'll always be my son. He will always, until the day I take my last breath, he will always be my son. So to me, it's important that I foster that relationship and keep that relationship intact. Because when you have the right man, he's not going to make your relationship so difficult that you have to choose between your son or your daughter and him. When you have the right man, he's going to make sure that you're a family and that you move as a unit. You're one. There isn't going to be this, oh, well, he's your son or he's your daughter. Why do I have to deal with it? There isn't going to be the, oh, why doesn't their parent help out more? I feel like I'm paying for a kid that's not mine. Those are the signs that you need to get rid of that motherfucker that you're dealing with. Under no circumstances should the man that you're with or the woman that you're with make you feel bad for taking care of your kid or expecting them to help, especially if you're in a committed relationship and you're together and you're supposed to be a family. That's what comes with the territory. I'll tell somebody before we even get down that road, I'm a mother first and a lover second. Don't forget that shit, because I will gladly remind you. My son may grow up and move away, but he's still always going to be my son. We may not work out, and I'll be damned if I tarnish the relationship that I've had with my child, the bond that I've built since the moment of conception, over somebody who's not worth it. I won't do it. I can't understand these females that would rather have somebody laying in their bed, but their damn kids can't read, they can't count. Hell, half of them can't even spell their damn names. And if you get offended by what I just said, you might be one of those women I'm talking about. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. There's nothing more important to me than my son. Granted, relationships come later. But in the meantime, in between times, my job is to make sure that he flourishes, that he succeeds, that he's ahead of the power curve. I don't want him to be average. I want him to be above average. And I'm not going to let anything get in the way of that, especially not a relationship. Especially not. And the same woman I'm talking about, she's been married twice. Each time, the first time was to the child's father. That didn't work. Second time was to some person she met, and I guess maybe she thought they had a connection, but no, they didn't. And it was horrible. I remember the stories, and it was bad. And all I could think was, why would you expose your child to this? Just so you can say you're married, just so you can say you have somebody? Why are women so afraid to be alone? I've never understood that either. They're so afraid of being that old lady with a whole bunch of damn cats that they'll take anything. They will absolutely take anything that comes their way. Right, wrong, or indifferent. If it has a pulse and a penis and it don't beat the shit out of you, they'll take it. There's more to a relationship than that. And especially, I don't understand why women are so afraid of being alone that they would just settle instead of waiting for what's meant for them. Because I'll be honest, I've been single for a very, very long time. Okay? I'm not going to go into detail about how long. But it's been a minute. And I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. It's not ideal, but because of the person that I am, I know that I can't just settle. I cannot do it. So, in that aspect, I guess I'm one of the rare women that are okay with being single until I get the person that I'm supposed to be with. Until they just fall out of the sky on top of my fucking car. If that even happens. Probably not. But I would rather be single than to allow somebody into our lives that could potentially cause irreparable damage. And I think that's just my responsibility as a mom to always have to consider his well-being before I can think about dating somebody. Going out for drinks and all that other stuff is fine. I'm human. I have needs. We don't have to be together. But anyway, going out on dates is okay. But as far as when you're talking about long-term commitment, moving in, splitting bills, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different. So those requirements for me are a little bit more steep than if we were just casually dating. When you cross that threshold, there are things that need to be considered. The most important one is how my relationship with this man is going to affect my son emotionally and how it's going to affect our relationship. So it's just one thing that I needed to get off my chest because, and though don't get me wrong, this lady is not a bad person. I think she's made some stupid ass choices. And I don't tell her to her face because I don't think she could handle everything that I have to say. So when she brings it up, I just sidestep it, make a joke, change the subject, walk out of the damn room, whatever I have to do. And I think a lot of that stems from self-esteem on her part. Women with low self-esteem tend to accept whatever comes along. They tend to make excuses. They tend to pacify bad behavior in terms of who they're dating, just so they can hold on to the relationship. Now, only when they get to a breaking point, that's when they're like, oh, I see the light and, I don't deserve this. No, you do. You don't. But you also could have prevented this. Just literally just kind of take yourself out of the equation for a second and pretend that you're on the outside looking in. People on the outside looking in can see everything. It's when you're in it and you're immersed in it that you can't see it. You don't understand why nobody likes him. You don't understand why people are telling you to get rid of him. I don't know. Call me crazy. But that's all for the night, folks. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe.